Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast AI, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. I'm Paul Davenport, Boast resident tech journalist, and today I'm thrilled to welcome EnviroApps Inc. co-founder and CEO Amit Bhargava. Over the past 5 years, Amit and his team at EnviroApps have been making the transportation of dangerous goods safer by developing the first proven electronic hazmat shipping paper solution in Canada. Clients come to Amit and the EnviroApps team to make their lives easier by replacing their crappy paper processes. By crappy, we mean cumbersome, ridiculous, archaic, painful, and inefficient. By offering digital solutions instead of physical paperwork, EnviroApps delivers the visibility and control that teams need in any scenario where documentation access is critical when dealing with dangerous goods incidents. It's an important mission, and Amit's team has been working hard to establish regulatory compliance in Canada with a vision to expand across North America. I can't wait to pick his brain on his journey through the innovation ecosystem, what it's been like building EnviroApps, and what's next for his team. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Amit.
Thank you, Paul. It's great to be on your show, and I'm looking forward to the exciting conversations.
Oh, I can't wait. Again, we were chatting right before the call. There's a lot of distinction. I'm the resident American here on the Boast team between how just like hazmat and just dangerous goods and the transportation of materials differs in the US and Canada. So we'll dive into the nitty gritty of that. But before we get there, I want to learn a little bit more about you. So I know that we were actually connected through our shared partners at Platform Calgary. So shout out to Reno and everybody over there who helped make this connection a reality. But to kick things off, I'd love to know, how did you get into the innovation space in the first place? What's your journey as a founder been like? And yeah, give me the genesis of Amit.
Awesome, Paul. The way it started was totally unexpected. I never thought of being an entrepreneur, and I'm a late age entrepreneur, I would say. I don't want to disclose my age yet, but you can guess. The thing is, I was frustrated by a very paper heavy process. Things like hazardous waste and dangerous goods. This happens in across the world. Everywhere there is a paper process that enables the tracking of waste, hazardous waste, or dangerous good from one place to another, but it is all on paper. And I was dealing with that in my industry role. This is about 9 years ago, and I was super frustrated. We had a amazing environmental management system, great performance, but this area of tracking hazardous waste was such a painful process, because when you have four carbon copies going with the waste and one is supposed to come back, does it ever happen? Well, half the times it doesn't come back, and you have a compliance gap there. You don't know exactly where it landed, and so that was the problem I started to solve. And I teamed up with my high school buddy who's also in Calgary, and he's a techie. So it was a right combination, right team to solve this, because you need understanding of the regulatory compliance area as well as tech to enable a solution. And then we pivoted into dangerous goods because we see this as a much bigger problem. Hazardous waste is sometimes also called dangerous, is also dangerous goods, but the bigger problem is transportation of dangerous goods, and hazmat, which is what people in the U.S. call it. It's the same thing.
Nope, makes perfect sense. Yeah, I was gonna say that was the like hazmat. It very much. I have a picture of there's danger. You just see the exclamation point. You see the steer clear. You know the colors to avoid. So I'm
Exactly.
very happy to hear that you have the solution and a little alarmed that this is one area where we were still so paper based for so long, especially considering all the just implications of that. Like you mentioned, keeping tabs on paper. Like if there's four copies of something, you're going to lose one of those copies. I just know from
Yeah.
being a human in the world before we use computers or cell phones for absolutely everything that that is the case. And with something that is so regulated and so hinging on compliance too, can't believe that there wasn't some kind of solution to this beforehand. But I mean, we've all probably used and abused the word digital transformation, but this feels like the place where it really should have begun. But apparently that's not been the
Exactly.
case. Yeah.
This is very critical. When forget about the efficiency side of it. Even if you look at the one single problem, which is accessing this information, this is critical information for emergency responders. That's how they prepare when they're called in to deal with an emergency. If they don't know what they're going to deal with, which is on paper in that truck, how are they going to deal with it, right? So nobody's going into the truck. At least I don't want to be going into that truck to put my life in danger when there is a better way of doing it. So the other thing I mean, we all take digital tools and conveniences and all the things we have today, cell phones, internet connectivity, for granted. But this is not more than 10 years ago that we didn't have any of this. And so that's why we are about 10 years late in doing this. But this is so important that we should go ahead and do that as soon as we can. However, the regulations are always, lagging compared to technology, and so now they're starting to catch up. And we started doing this in 2020 through Transport Canada Regulatory Sandbox project and proved the solution through that. And can't believe it's been 5 years since then. And the adoption is still very slow, but it's picking up steam. So it takes time, but once it goes, it goes. And shockingly, the United States has not had an electronic hazmat shipping paper yet. We're working on that too.
We need you down here, Amit. Seriously. I'm thinking I wanna call back to a point that you made earlier too, that it's not just about efficiency too. You tapped into it, but I'm like, accuracy on the one hand. Again, if you have something that's actually a digital record, it's by default gonna be more accurate than something that's on paper that you can't erase something in ink after the fact. You gotta start over, or if there was a typo or just anything like that that could be miscommunicated, you need to remove that potential barrier. So, one thing to make sure that the appropriate stakeholders have access to the accurate information about what's actually being transported there. And to your point, not having to actually go into that truck, I wouldn't want to do it. Again, I'm not the expert in the field, but see hazmat in the US, I'm walking on the other side of the sidewalk. I am
Exactly.
going on the other side of the street. I ain't touching it. So, accuracy and access, I think,
Yeah.
are maybe the two biggest things that you're solving here too. When we think about
Yes.
digital transformation, we always think it's about like the efficiency side of things and just making things faster and maybe some lessons that we learned too quickly in the adoption of AI, like embrace it at all costs just for efficiency. But this is really about making sure that people are safe, materials aren't getting lost in transit or they're not getting misplaced, and that all the actual actions that need to be taken are accurately being dictated. Would you say that's a fair read?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that goes with anything handwritten or paper is, can you read it? Because that can be another problem when it is electronic and digital. Everybody can access it, read it, and deal with it that way rather than relying on reading somebody's handwriting.
I proof in motion. I've been taking my notes while we're talking. Every time I do that, I'm taking these notes on every podcast that we do. I can maybe read about one third of my handwriting. I should have been a doctor, I guess. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm like, is that digital transformation? Is that what I wrote down? Painful processes. Got that note, but
yeah,
I'm with you there. I'm also a reformed bartender and restaurant waiter, so I know the shorthand is confusing and passing
yeah,
off a tap to the kitchen. Yeah, I constantly got the wrong
yeah.
orders because I could not
And
read what I put down there.
And you hit the nail on the head there. This is so important, so critical for safety of the emergency responders and the public. And that was actually my motivation to keep continuing doing what I'm doing today, and that really motivates me every day. And because this is so important, we got to do this. We got to make this change and move in the right direction. And earlier, I didn't see that. There was a aha moment for me back in 2022, and that's when I said I was doing this as a side hustle, and then I realized the importance, and I said, I'm going to go all in and make this happen.
That it's music to my ears. And again, we got to get smack the US into shape a little bit. We got to adopt some of these practices, but also just get some standardization and regulation in place. But going back now, you had mentioned 22, but going all the way back to kind of how EnviroApps came together, you had mentioned you found a high school buddy who is a techie. And so basically, you had kind of that experience understanding regulation, understanding the core of the problem that needed to be solved, and knowing that there's gotta be a digital solution here. It's there, but how do we actually build it? So you reached out to somebody in your network, a close friend, and who could complement your skill set with their tech enablement. I just wanna call that out because a running theme on this show that I was never expecting 80 plus episodes in, all the best founder stories are, I have a buddy from high school, or I have this buddy who was my roommate in college, or I've had people who be like, oh, they lived across the street from me when I was in elementary school, and I went in one direction. I went into the field that's very maybe niche to the industry that they've built the solution in. And then their friend usually is that guy who had kind of that tech bandwidth to like really bring up the expertise and actually make it a reality. So, want to call that out. You're in great company with that founding story because I think it's a success that you see across the board. Businesses that actually go on to build those great solutions are ones where the co-founders get along, where they're people who really want to be doing this work together because it's cliche at this point. It's a marriage, honestly. You're going to be working with this person in the trenches for a long time. And if you're not simpatico on a personal level, that's going to come and bite you later on. So you really want to make sure that you're getting a friend who, A, is a real friend, but also just has a skill set. There's also horror stories where, oh, I did work with my buddy. They didn't actually bring anything to the table, and we didn't get that far. So I'd love to know a little bit more about, too, just kind of like the genesis. Again, this was a side gig, became your main gig around 2022. Tell me a little bit more about the state of the world or what happened in your life that was changing that made it so that this became your main focus, and then
Right.
some of the great work you've done since then.
Right. So it was, one thing I want to share is we have now received uh, approval from Transport Canada for our app. Earlier, they would issue approvals to our clients, which obviously would be based on our system. But the recognition this brings is immense because now we have that buildup of trust, which also removes a few hurdles on the adoption side. Because every company, if they have to get their own approval from Transport Canada, it is a process, it's a hurdle. Half of them go away thinking, well, I can still keep doing paper, and they keep doing paper. The other thing is when you're dealing with multiple carriers, transporters, they there is a bit of a logistical issue there. If you have to have them, like not all the time, they won't be transporting goods for you all the time. They would be transporting goods for others too. So making that whole process work under that kind of arrangement was difficult. Now having our app approved makes it way easier for any of our clients to leverage our approval. And so where we are going next is the ideal state. You know, Europeans are a bit ahead of us. They have got systems where they can actually send data in case of an emergency. The data, same data that we are looking for in an emergency to get to provide to emergency responders. They have automated that to send it in case a incident gets detected. And so that's the ideal stage where we're shooting for. It'll take a few collaborations because it needs collaboration with emergency responders as well, but also integrations with the hardwares already in the truck. So the technology already exists in the truck. We just need to bring it all together and collaborate and do that. But the other piece, which is near term, what we have done is made the whole transportation workflow safer, in the sense it's not just about shipping documents or the critical information, but we are validating a few things for our shipper clients who are the ones usually mostly responsible because they are the consigner of these dangerous goods, is validating that the transporter company they're dealing with, they've got their drivers TDG training up to date. Is Do they have all the valid certifications, or rather verifications on the truck that is going to be used? And then at the end of the day, when things are getting delivered, we have come up with a way to reduce those errors from the drivers when they're unloading, to make sure that they deliver in the right, they hook up with the right tank and deliver the product safely. So we're leveraging this platform to actually do more than just paperwork. It's enhancing safety all around the whole transportation workflow.
This is incredibly interesting, Amit. So, without getting into too much detail, I did a brief stint at a company here in the States that actually works on reimbursements for people who drive for a living. So, people who are actually moving hazmat here in the States, or folks who are delivery and things like that. And this is a big ask, honestly, and something that I don't think anyone has really perfected, at least down here. Again, don't want to identify the company that I did that stint at, but that just rang so many bells. I'm thinking in terms of just like some of the additional requirements that that application was getting requests from. They're like, can we get driver verification? Like, even just things about like, what's the status of their insurance today? Like, can we
Mhm.
verify that before they get behind the wheel of the vehicle with the materials in it? And again, I know that might not be one to one with what you guys are delivering, but this is incredibly necessary. And it goes back to that accuracy. And again, it's efficient in the sense that you can get the information in a timely manner, but in a timely manner that it's going to be safe and relevant and
Yeah.
actually on time for the task at hand. So
Yeah.
that's
And
really,
ahead of the time when they get onto the site and all that, because a lot of times if the things are not validated, or it's super manual, like somebody would have to do this and they might forget, or they might be busy with something else and they don't do it. And there have been instances where the product is on the truck but it's not suitable, and then there's all kinds of risk with it being on the road and dealing with it, right? So you can prevent a lot of those situations by doing the proper due diligence, and our clients really appreciate that kind of add-on benefit.
yeah, exactly. And again, like there's no assurance when all you have are breadcrumbs that could disappear and you don't have that validated, locked in kind of digital footprint of the what's
Exactly.
actually happening on the
Yeah.
scene.
It's
Yeah.
super important from the insurance point of view too.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, the insurance companies, they hold the bag on this, right? If there is an incident, and they are the first thing they ask when they get to the adjusters get to the scene is, show me the shipping document. And now on paper, well, there's a lot of stuff missing. We have everything, date, time stamped, signatures, everything, so you can actually track who did what in an auditable format,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
nobody can tamper with it.
That's the key point. I was gonna say, and like, God forbid it's a messy scene too. No one has to go into a truck to just get the paperwork. And like, even just that physical barrier in the event of a worst case scenario, yeah, that seems like it should be table stakes. But again, with all the stakeholders involved, of course it's a messy web, and of course it's a big scenario. So a lot of what you're doing too is like herding all the cats. You're getting everybody who needs to be in touch with the correct data and in touch with those timestamps and that proper documentation. Yeah.
Having multiple stakeholders is actually the the toughest thing to do in this business. It's not the tech, it's getting everybody along.
Oh, completely. I know it's different worlds, R&D tax credits and what you guys are doing, but they're both highly regulated many stakeholder scenarios when it comes to, okay, you're talking to the people actually working on the R&D, then you're talking to the folks who actually have the financials. You're going to need some insight into the payroll of it all too, and then how do you communicate all that finance and the actual tech stuff to the CRA or the IRS or whatever your federal body is. And even at that level too, different language for the CRA, different language for the IRS, different language for whatever province you're in even versus what you're going to do federally. So mostly we can relate from being in the trenches over here at Boast at the compliance level and the due diligence and just the burden of accurate documentation too. Um, Again, it's not one to one, but that's kind of the key to also getting your R&D tax credit claims, getting your shred refund. The CRA wants to know in detail and also over what period of time all of this took place so that you can actually get the fund that you're entitled to and that you deserve.
Right.
And at the same time, too, if you are in a scenario where you need to have the information for an insurer about just like, hey, who's really at fault here? What steps might have been missing? If you don't have the detail, even if it's not your fault, you can't back that up. So
Yeah.
that's going to become costly over time beyond the fact that you might have had the incident in the first place because you didn't follow all the appropriate steps and there was no one there to flag that. So again, it can get tangled very quickly, but I think having a solution like yours to make sure that there's clarity and there's visibility across all of these multiple touch points in a very, very dangerous scenario. That's incredible. And now too, going back to actually building EnviroApps, and now we talked about kind of your founder story, a little bit of the genesis and some of the problems that you guys are solving. I mentioned at the top of the call that we're part of Platform Calgary. We know that you guys work up in Calgary. You're a Calgary business. Why Calgary? Why Calgary? And tell me a little bit about just the tech ecosystem up there and what made it a great home to build Enviro apps.
Yeah, so I mean, Calgary has the right things for the tech ecosystem, and there's a much longer story how I ended up in Calgary, but I've been here for 28 years. I have all my networks here, all the people I know, including my co-founder, obviously, and so Platform Calgary was actually one of the first accelerator programs in Calgary back in 2019. I had this fireside side chat with Jen Lucier just a couple of days ago, and we had the community connect. That's where we did that, and we went back to 2019 when the first ever accelerator program was started in Calgary. It was Platform and Foresight collaboration, and so we were part of that. I was doing this on the side of my desk, but I participated in that program. Found that very useful at that time when there was nothing around. I was learning the hard way,
Mhm.
chasing all the wrong companies to sell my product initially. I mean, those classic mistakes, right? If I knew better, but anyway, so the Calgary ecosystem is very collaborative and everybody tries to help each other out. And particularly kudos to Platform for providing the space and all the support that they do. Yeah, so we've been lucky to get the support from Platform Calgary here, and we have participated in their another accelerator program for other more advanced companies, and it's called the incubator program, and so yeah, we learn from each other. I'm here quite a bit at Platform Calgary office as well, and it's great to share stories with peers and learnings, and it's such an amazing place to be.
It's awesome. I first off want to call back. I think you mentioned Foresight. We're big fans of that group. So again, it's an awesome ecosystem. I'm the American here, and I felt from afar very embraced by all the teams up in Calgary, and especially the platform team. So really want to make sure we're shouting them out. It's beyond even just that we're a sponsor. Boast is DNA in Calgary too. We serve all of North America, but we're so proud that we have our roots up there. And I think we're just happy to see that it's not an undersung corner of the country anymore. I think it had been for a long time, but now, like, look at some of the events that are going on beyond even just looking at some of the companies and some of the founders like yourself who are being nurtured up there. The ethos is, I think, for a very long time, and fortunately, it's been shaken off. Go south. Start looking south once you have your good idea. And I think that now it's let's plant our seeds. Let's make sure that we're getting some roots
Mhm.
here. Let's take advantage of the programs that are available here, both from the incubators and the accelerators. But even like you were saying, you've already gotten the validation from government bodies about your platform that is validation that you're going to be able to take with you as you expand. So it's not necessarily packing up and leaving once you've gotten what you needed. Your roots are planted here. We're going to grow out from there, and we're taking Calgary with us. So I think
Absolutely.
that's awesome. And again, one thing I wanted to mention, call back earlier that I thought was so cool was that validation by the local government. And again, making sure that it's not you're putting the burden on your clients to go get that compliance. It's built in when you have the app. And
Yes.
that's a big, big step. I know we're invited to consult on a lot of like federal funding initiatives and things like that. Building something like that in for SR&ED and RD tax credits, God, I hope it's coming. I think it will eventually, but being able to just make that one step not be a consideration for our clients like you have for yours, that's my dream state. And I think we'll get there, but I'm glad that you guys have gotten there too, because the barrier to entry has just been completely removed in a lot of scenarios when you have that locked in. All right. All right. So I'd love to know too, what's next for you guys and your team? We've talked about it a bit. We've talked about the European model and how that's kind of an example to follow, and also that you
Mhm.
would like to expand to the States once we have some regulation in place. But
Mhm.
are there any other things that we can look forward to, whether that's new platform features, whether it's even new solutions that your team's driving, or even just short term where folks can come see you and learn more from your expertise?
Yeah, absolutely. We are trying to solve this problem wherever we can go next. This is a worldwide problem. We're also looking at India, my home country where I was born, and they have actually removed the hurdles in the regulation. So we are kind of trying to go there as well as Middle East and wherever we can. So there's lots of growth opportunities. We just have to pick the ones where we want to be, and it's a matter of the regulations allowing for it. Canada has obviously allowed it for a while now. They haven't changed the regulation, but they have kind of figured out a way to allow electronic shipping documents, and it is working very well with all the other thing is compliance gets way easier when you've got something electronic. So yeah, that's kind of the exciting journey we are on. It sometimes feels very slow, but it is moving in the right direction, and we are building more and more consensus within Canada to go digital with the industry, and it's a matter of time when we'll be talking about, oh, are you still doing this on paper? Like, that's absolutely abnormal. You're a laggard. We'll get there.
Yeah, no, we're definitely getting there. And even to your point, it's slow, but it's happening. And that's just the pace of regulation. But you guys are being proactive about it. And also, depending on who you ask, this is the problem of today. Like, we need to make sure that there aren't barriers to just safe waste removal, safe waste disposal, and even beyond the waste of it all, just not putting people in scenarios where it could get tricky or haggard, even just from a day-to-day, work-a-day perspective. God, if you could speed things up, efficiency is one thing, but the safety, the accuracy, the clarity,
Yeah,
the
that's
visibility,
the
you're enabling it
that's
all.
bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Amit, this has been a total pleasure.
Well, if anybody wants to learn about our solution, you can look up EnviroApps.ca, Canadian company, and reach out if you would like to learn more. And happy to share our learnings. You can straight away book a meeting with me if you would like to, and I'm happy to chat one on one and share my learnings through this process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, we will make sure that Amit's contact info is in the show notes for this episode. Also, again, Platform Calgary. We're going to make sure that this episode gets featured so that everybody in the ecosystem will have a chance to learn more about what you do so that they can connect with their partners there. But whether or not you're even in Platform Calgary, if you are local, look into some of their offerings. People like you could probably really take off, just like Amit did, talking to my listener audience here. And if you're not even in Canada, still look into this. Again, it's a global problem. It's something that we need to kind of raise the harbor so all ships come with us and make sure that best practices are applied wherever these issues are coming up. So this was fantastic, Amit. I can't thank you enough.
No, thank you for the opportunity to talk about what we are doing, and it's super exciting to get the awareness for everybody. A lot of people get shocked when they first learn, are we still doing this on paper?
I,
Such an important thing.
this is, I'm hesitating to do it, but I've been on like a reading spree and I just read Wasteland and I have another one that's like Build, Rebuild. And I was just in like the portion about, I could go long. Just the carbon capture and also the opportunity when we're taking down buildings and all the hazmat that's in there. I really did not know the complexity of it all. Again, I was reading this as a hobby. My eyes have been opened and I'm a little horrified. So this was genuinely very interesting on it. I'm going to be doing some homework after this call just to dig in some more to learn about what you guys are doing, but also what's going on in the States here because yeah, I just it's shocking how
Yeah,
little some has advanced. And I'm so glad you guys are leading the charge.
awesome. Thank you
Well
very
done.
much, Paul. Thank you for the opportunity.